Welcome to another edition of the Mail Time Podcast. I am joined today by my dear friend, Sagi Dovev. Sagi, thanks so much for joining.
Shalom. Thanks for having me, and sorry for finding the quietest place I could at this time, which is my car.
As from one father to another, I understand the feeling. Before we get going, I just want to give a quick shout out to our partner for this episode, Holy Chutzpah. Launch of a bold educational initiative. Put your money where your mouth is. Check before you fund betrayal. New campaign titled Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is, Check Before You Fund Betrayal has been launched to inspire Jews in the USA to align charitable giving with core values. Launched by a group called Holy Chutzpah, this initiative seeks to raise awareness about the implications of tzedakah that supports institutions opposing IDF service, which may conflict with Zionist ideals. With a bold and unapologetic tone spread mostly by a very wide social media campaign, the campaign aims to initiate discussions that challenge traditional perspectives on the value of Torah. An important focus of the campaign is to sensitize donors to the fact that they might be supporting institutions which actually contradict their core values. The campaign poses critical questions to the community. Is Torah learning beyond reproach? Can one engage in Torah study while supporting actions that contradict their principles? By addressing these issues, the campaign encourages thoughtful engagement and action to align charitable choices with fundamental beliefs. Check Before You Give serves as a central call to action, prompting individuals to be intentional about their charitable contributions. Influencers and community leaders are invited to participate in amplifying this important message, fostering thought-provoking dialogue that can reshape the understanding of charitable giving. For more information about the campaign, visit www.holy-chutzpah.com. And Sagi, there's a video I have from them, which we'll talk about a little bit later. It's particularly important or relevant in the sense that you spend most of your day now at Sheba Hospital training wounded soldiers and people that have paid an extremely high price. There is a segment of society that is not currently involved in so much in that struggle. So I look forward to getting your perspective on that. But for those who are unaware of everything you're doing, what have you been doing since October 8th until now, mid-April of 2025?
So it's pretty simple. I've been at the hospital since even October 7th, and I am spending all of my time at the hospital, mostly at Sheba Hospital, training and building resilience with all the wounded soldiers, amputees, released hostages, and volunteering, doing whatever I can to help them.
What's the
Basically,
mindset like in the hospital, and has it changed at all from October 8th until now? Is there a different sense of mission and what people have seen and undergone from the beginning of the war until now?
so it has changed. Well, I'm there every day, so I see the changes. I see the different uh, wounded soldiers that arrive. Now we're in ceasefire, so less soldiers are arriving. So it's soldiers that were wounded before or come to daily rehabilitation, and I think less people come to visit as well today. So it's well, you've been there this week. You met me. You saw how it was. The first thing you could say is the atmosphere is good at the hospital. Surprisingly, it's very good. The soldiers are happy. People are smiling. Everybody is helping. It's very warm
Definitely
and
feels like a family.
it feels like a family, and it is a family because we are. This is what we're trying to do. At least I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be their family, their friend, their ear, their trainer. And do whatever I can do to help them. And I always say that what I do, the training, is just the end part of the whole process. It's just it's a 30-minute thing at the end of everything I do with them, which is spend time and eat lunch and bring lunch and bring visitors and presidents and help their families however I can. So I build trust, I build relationships. They are my friends. You saw it, close friends, everybody, and this helps me with what I do. and this helps the atmosphere, and that's maybe that's the easiest part. The hospital, the time at the hospital, that's easy. The harder time is when they leave the hospital, when they go back home, when they're released, and they have to come back to daily rehabilitation or whatever. They meet reality. They meet you know bu- bureaucracy and politics
Has the
and
bureaucracy
everything
gotten any
else.
better over the course of the war? I'm assuming that at the beginning of the war, after October 7th, many of the people that you work with were dealing with the state of Israel that was in immense shock, and there were so many people that needed so much help. Has it gotten
So
better in the last couple of months?
it might have, but I don't feel it, or they don't feel it. It's still Israel. Bureaucracy is still very difficult. And I think, the shock has changed with, call it something else, but it's just so many needs, so many people, so many wounded soldiers, so many PTSD, so many Nova survivors, so many people who got their houses destroyed by missiles or drones or whatever it is. It just there's so many needs here. And I was asked in one of my trips to the States, somebody approached me and said, listen, is everybody in Israel, needy? And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, well, now you're bringing amputees. Last week there were Nova survivors. A week before that, PTSD. A week before that, widows and orphans. A week before, and I
And
said,
what's the answer?
the answer is we have a lot of needs. We are a nation that has been through a very big trauma. And I think a lot of people, each one needs a different thing. It's not all about the money, by the way. It's not just money.
A lot of it's actually just treating people like normal human beings
Exactly. It's not,
and
it's
not
not
as
just money.
props or something like that.
Exactly.
I was actually sitting with the two people, the last night before I flew back to the States. And on my left was an individual who lost his father in a terrorist attack and lost his brother on October 7th
Yeah.
fighting in Golani. On my right was someone whose brother is still a hostage, now 565 days into captivity. And perhaps the strangest of all was that it's almost normal. And we're sitting there with these people who have gone through incredible pain and are dealing with unspeakable tragedy. And it's almost unremarkable because there's so many people that have endured something like that. Have you been
Yeah.
desensitized to seeing 19, 20, 21-year olds that are missing limbs or with serious injuries? Do you still have that raw emotional reaction and pain every day you go into the hospital, or at this point is it just normal for you?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, it can never be normal. I try not to be affected by it because it's my job. I build their resilience. I cannot show them that I feel sorry for them, or no, my job is to make them feel that they are okay and they will be okay and they will do even better than what they did before. Uh, so, I don't give them any slack. I train them hard, and they want to be trained hard, and they want to be treated normally. uh so, if one day is the question, if one day I'm gonna feel or I'm gonna have something to do with everything I've seen, you never know. You never know what will happen, but right now I feel that I have to be strong, and this is my job. This is what I feel like I've been sent here to do.
What were you doing before October 7th?
What was I doing? I retired from the army 8 months before October 7th. Uh, I was head of Krav Maga and close combat for all the elite units, special operations, uh, in the IDF for many, many years. So I've been training most of those guys or their friends for many years. So this is also a very this was a very easy way for me to come in, to get in, and to get close to the guys, because they all knew me from my military career. They all wanted to train with me uh, in the military, and now they have a chance to have personal, workouts with me. So that was a good thing for me. And I retired, and I founded a company that does resilience workshops with the two other officers from my unit. And our mission was to build resilience, not just to individuals, to company, to teams, not just special operators. And we had an amazing workshop, which we trained for and we worked for, and we had contracts around the world, which were signed a week before October 7th.
Little did you know that your resilience training and expertise would be needed more than ever. On the morning of October 7th and into the afternoon, how many of your friends or people that you had trained fell on the battlefield that day?
Wow. A lot, just for my unit, 10 amazing guys, 10 amazing officers who fell in battle. They were the first responders almost, not almost, they were the first responders. 10 amazing soldiers fell in battle that day, and you can imagine how many other were wounded. So multiply it by many.
In all of the years that you had trained and you were preparing for missions, most of those missions, when they are with higher units, are in enemy territory. You're dealing with going into Gaza or going into Judea and Samaria or into any other country that might have hostile actors towards the state of Israel. Had you ever trained these guys for an attack of this scale in Israel?
No, not directly to an attack in Israel, but whenever we train, I always, I start the training by telling them that this is our job. Your job is to risk your life in order to save lives, in order to do special operations, wherever it might be, uh, close by or very far away, in enemy territories. And there will come a day. I always tell them, there will come a day that your life will be, in danger, and it will be a life or death situation. And this is where your resilience is being tested. And this is, I start every training by telling them, talking about the switch. The switch is going from 0 to 100, switching your mindset in a millisecond, like this. This is the switch. This is what I trained for. This is what they trained for. And they talked to me about it at the hospital. They talked to me and they told me that they were thinking about me, when the bullets were flying next to their heads, and that morning, and they had no idea where they were coming from and why and what has happened, and they were thinking about the switch, and they were thinking about the training.
Looking back at the training, would you have changed anything knowing that an attack like October 7th was more possible than you would have imagined?
Another good question. Of course, I would change some things, but I'm not even talking about technical moves. I'm talking about more mindset, which is what I've been doing my entire career. So I was always talking about building resilience, talking about building strong mindset, because elite fighters in Israel are 18-year-olds, good guys, especially in the special operations. They are very smart, educated, good guys who, if they would have gotten into fights in school before, they would have gotten in trouble. They didn't get into fights. And so my job was to make them believe they are elite fighters, even though they're not the biggest, not the strongest, and they are definitely young. So I was doing a lot of mindset training and resilience training. But today I think even more is needed.
How would you analyze the resilience training that goes on in the ground forces of the regular soldiers? You, of course, were dealing with the elite soldiers, the highest units, the regular soldiers who have put in so many days and have done such an unbelievable job on multiple fronts during this Iron Swords war. Perhaps they didn't have as much of a focus with special instructors like yourself. How is that? How have you seen or analyzed the resilience that those units are getting or were getting before the war?
Definitely. They should have gotten more attention. They should have gotten more budgets. Uh, but I think it's the same around the world. This is how armies are built. You have special units, you have commando, you have, and they get bigger budgets, and they get better food and better equipment and better instructors, and they get instructors who are professionals, who are 40-year-olds and not 18, 19-year olds, not disrespecting anybody or anyone,
Right,
but
just with more experience, with more life experience that you can offer.
yes, yes, but they should have definitely gotten more, and hopefully, today, and in the future, they will get more in infantry. We know that, Golani, Givati, Nachal, engineering. We know that all of them are doing the hardest jobs, the hardest work. They are in the field, in the battlefield, all day in, day out, and they deserve, everything.
So, God forbid someone gets injured and they're brought to Sheba, Tel Shemer. How long after their injury do you typically begin training with them?
I just had a guy that had his surgery. He got his leg amputated, and he asked me, listen, he said, an hour after I wake up from surgery, I want to train with you. And we did. We did it today. So an hour after he woke up from surgery, we trained. So it's very different from, the mindset from one another. There are people who want the wounded soldiers to come up to me and say, I want to train every day, all day. I want to get out of here as fast as possible. I want to do even better than what I did before. And some soldiers are telling me, I'll train with you when I'm on my feet. When I get up, when I stand up, when I get my prosthetics, I'll start training with you. And my answer is always the same. No, you have to start training with me now, today, before you get your prosthetics. I will help you stand up. I will help you get tougher and stronger. And most of the time, I succeed in doing that. So
For someone who has a leg or an arm amputated, is the biggest challenge mental or physical?
it's both, of course, but I think it's a very personal question. Each one has uh his own stuff to go through. But I think it's a very much mental issue. Uh, Going through the mental phase and then doing the physical stuff. But it's gonna be hard, especially, I help guys who are double amputees, triple amputees. You saw them, uh, and they have to be strong in their heads and their minds in order to continue, even continue living, and then having a reason to wake up in the morning and do all the hard work. And it's you can't even imagine how hard the work is, especially for double, triple amputees. This is all they're doing is building their mindset again, or building their bodies again, learning how to eat with their hand, with their prosthetic hand, or without their hand, and walking, and whatever it might be. But they have to learn everything from the beginning, and it's not easy at all. And it's not easy even, walking with prosthetics. It's not always easy, not for everyone.
Had you trained anybody with prosthetics before October 7th?
Actually, yes. I've been volunteering before October 7th. I've been volunteering my entire life for different hospitals and different organizations, and uh, I've been training in some of the other organizations that are training the soldiers as well, and so I have done it before, uh, but not in this scale, not 6, 7 amputees a day.
So, what's your daily schedule look like? I know I saw you the other day, but for those of you, those of the listeners that haven't had the privilege of going around with you, what does your typical day look like?
I wake up 6:30 in the morning to my little baby crying. She wants mommy, who left to work at 5:30 because somebody has to work. And then I wake up my two other kids. I have a 6, a 3, and a 1-year old. Uh, make them food, take them to the kindergartens, and go to Sheba Hospital. Train train some wounded heroes and release hostages. And then I go back 4 o'clock to pick them up from kindergarten. Uh, stay with them till my wife comes back from work, and that's it. Day in, day out.
And then, of course, when you get home, you are an emotional support for so many of these guys. I've seen how you interact, and it's not like you just turn your phone off when you get home and that's it. Can you
Yeah, yeah,
describe
yeah.
some of the relationships you've developed with some of these guys and ladies over the last year and a half?
So it varies, from some connections are better, some connections are just training, but in most of the cases, they have my phone is open 24/7. It was always open 24/7 when I had a military career, when I had a professional career as an athlete, and even now it's always open. I'm always there. They could call me in the middle of the night if they have nightmares, and they do have nightmares. Uh, a lot of them have PTSD in one level or another. As I always say, we all have PTSD in one level or another, or we'll all have PTSD in one level or another. So some have it more, some need me more. Some ask me to come train at night at my gym at home, and I go and train them. Some I go and then I have dinner with them, or I bring them food. Or sometimes I go to a comedy show. I get tickets and take them to a comedy show, uh, stand-up comedy or whatever it may be, just so they could, I take them out of the hospital. But I have some very good connections and relationships with those guys, and I feel like a very, an older brother who's I'm trying to always be there for them.
And what's it like now having a very famous and active Instagram? Before, I remember when you and I started talking about it, you didn't even know what was going on the platform. And now you're getting
No.
hundreds of thousands of views. What's that been like?
Uh, it's strange. It's ambivalent because in one hand you get a lot of attention, you get a lot of messages, but it takes away a lot of your time. Uh, I didn't have social media. I was when I had the military career, I wasn't allowed to have one. And a year and a half ago, I didn't know what was Instagram and what was Facebook and how to make a video, and it was all very, very new to me. Uh, but I found the platform useful in the sense of I feel like I'm sharing the stories of our heroes. I'm showing the world, especially non-Israelis, because I checked. I didn't even know that you can check, the insights for your page, and I saw that 95% of my views and followers are from the States and from other countries. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to show our resilience, the resilience of our heroes. And they always, they call me whenever I post a video of them. And today, I'm trying to show a process. I don't just show a video of training. I show a process of a male or a female, a wounded soldier, going through all the phases and training and succeeding at the end. It's not always, they go through a lot of pain and struggle and failures and at the end they succeed. And this is what I'm trying to show, that I always end it by Am Yisrael Chai, because they are strong and they like the attention. They like to inspire other people. I think this is the most important thing for them. They
And it's
want to inspire
unbelievable.
others.
It's unbelievable because everyone abroad and at home, but in the States and other countries, is always so nervous about the soldiers that get injured. And very often they don't see what that future looks like. And you're providing a insight into that training, into the strength. And sometimes the people who are watching the video might actually feel worse about the situation than the soldier themselves, because the soldier themselves knows that they have resilience and they're going to be okay. And people that just see, oh, wow, they're missing a leg, might actually be more nervous than the soldier
Yeah.
who is empowered by the training. And you're providing an insight into that. I think it's a really powerful thing.
Thank you. They are warriors, they are they are warriors and they want to fight again. And if you ask them, they would go back to the battlefield tomorrow. And some of them do. Some of them do go to the battlefield, and it's another amazing story. Most of those stories I cannot tell, but I know at least five amazing stories of guys I've trained who went back to the military, to the IDF, and are serving and are, and they are doing amazing things.
Before we wrap here, I want to play this video from Holy Chutzpah and get your take on it. For those of you listeners who are unfamiliar, there's a little bit of a conversation, to say the least, debate about the role of Haredim in the army and burden sharing and who has to step up and actually defend the state of Israel and what's fair and what's equitable. And it's very complicated. But one of the things that Holy Chutzpah is trying to talk about is the idea that some yeshivas will actually throw people out if they go to the army. And we're sitting here talking about wounded soldiers, people that have paid a very high price on behalf of the Jewish people. And I'm curious your perspective on what your conversations have been with soldiers who have been injured about this issue. But first, I actually just want to watch this video and then we can talk about it.
אנחנו במלחמה, לא במבצע, לא בסבבים, במלחמה.
Look, if it's not already obvious to you that protecting Jews and defending Eretz Yisrael isn't a massive zchus and a chiyuv in the kingdom of the Torah Kedosha, then stop watching. This video is not for you. Keep scrolling. Oh, you're still here. Then why would you, of all people, be donating money and funding yeshivos that actively boycott the IDF, and even ban chayalim like me from learning there? You seem shocked. I'll explain.
If people like me choose to be regarding the mitzvah of serving in IDF, we get dishonorably discharged from the yeshiva.
Yes, kicked out of yeshiva. That's a simple truth for many well-branded yeshivos, even if they claim to daven and barbecue for the chayalim. Feeling bad? Feeling mad? I would too. It's true that learning Torah and Achdus for all of Am Yisrael are really important mitzvahs. But that doesn't mean you should be fooled into funding campaigns that actively boycott the IDF. Do your homework. Don't get scammed. Don't betray your own values, and don't betray your own people.
What are your thoughts on the Haredi draft issue, especially dealing with people who have paid such a high price? And what's the conversation like in the hospital?
First of all, get me a T-shirt of the Holy Chutzpah.
Okay, I will call them. I'll get that for you. No problem.
Second of all, it's an easy answer because even the other day, Sheba is right next. It's Tel HaShomer. Tel HaShomer is the recruiting base. So for the IDF, every 18-year-old who joins the army goes through Tel HaShomer base. Just 10 meters away out of the orthopedic rehabilitation center in Sheba is the drafting base, and we have the Haredim over there doing their closing the roads and demonstrating outside, like literally 20 meters away from the rooms of the amputees. And I think I made a video of that the other day, and it's really this is Israel 2025. It shows exactly, one side, one of the biggest problems we have. And I think the Haredim should learn from the Orthodox, the Kippah Sruga, uh, in the army, which are, all the, I can tell you, it's not very political, but a lot of the elite soldiers and many, many, many other fighters are Kippah Sruga and are Orthodox, and they could do the army. They could be warriors and fighters, and they could believe in God and learn in a yeshiva as well. So the Haredim should learn from them and see how it's done. You know, do it both. And
I just don't. For me, it's such a hard thing where you have this expectation that reservists 45, 48, 55 years old, even older in this war,
I
will
think
go out
I've introduced you to a guy, 57-year-old,
and lost a leg.
a
Right,
resume
right,
who lost a
and
leg.
right, and to say that there's a shortage,
57.
right? So there's a shortage of soldiers, and that person has to go and fight, and then you could have a 21-year-old perfectly healthy male who would say that they should be exempt and also get government subsidies at the same time. There's a lot of complexity, and I'm not opposed to certain people having exemptions if they're tremendous scholars. Just given
Same.
given the circumstance, it's really hard to reconcile that.
But we know that the yeshivas are not filled with guys learning all day. 18, 19-year-olds learning them there all day. We know it's not true.
It's also
They
it's one of these
work.
things. It's one of these things. If the border was Switzerland and you're sitting there, there's no war, there's no security needs, anything like that. But when you have a fight for survival and people, only a certain segment of the population has to carry this very heavy burden, it's simply unfair, and something about the status quo has to change. And I can only
As soon
just
as
imagine what it's
possible.
like. Absolutely. I just can only imagine what it's like if you've lost both your legs and you have to watch people protesting the army outside of your window.
It's unbelievable, really. I'll send you the video. It's really unbelievable.
And I hope that people actually understand what's going on. It's part of the reason why I think your videos are so important, because people can actually have an insight and see what's going on. And for those who want to contribute and help Sagi, please feel free, reach out, and we can help facilitate that, because what you're doing it separate from any of the big organizations, anything like that, just directly there so that people are able to provide assistance and really develop that one-on-one connection. And that's something really special. And I know that the soldiers really appreciated it, particularly because they're not being used, they're not being paraded, they're being treated like normal human beings. And that's something you've given them, and your time is just, it's so amazing to see how engaged you are. Where do you think this war is going? I know that you spend most of your time in the hospital and you're not sitting in the security cabinet, but before we close here, Sagi, how does this one end?
It ends like always. We will win. We will fight. It might be hard. It might be long. But we will win. We will prevail at the end, like we've always did. Am Yisrael Chai, and
We'll
we'll
end on
live
that.
forever.
Am Yisrael Chai.
Yes,
We're going to win.
exactly.
Sagi, thanks so much for the time. And
Thank you.
for everyone who wants to check you out, Sagi Dovev on Instagram. And if you're in Israel, stop by Sheba Hospital. You'll see Sagi there helping the heroes. So thanks, Sagi.
Thank you very much. Am Yisrael Chai.